Good morning, everybody. You're very welcome to this morning's webinar. I think we're going to have a very lively and interesting discussion this morning based on our little preamble we had beforehand. We're just waiting for people just to join in, so we'll just give a few minutes. We're just a little bit early logging on just to give a chance for people to log in. So delighted to be working with Northwest Regional College this morning, and George Fleming of Fleming Agri as well, who's here as well to give his feedback on his experience with apprenticeship programs, which is really what our discussion this morning is all about. And yeah, a lively discussion we're going to have, and some really good and really solid information. And Northwest Regional College are doing an amazing job, not only today, but we'll hear from George from back in 1983 when he started working with Northwest Regional College and developing apprenticeship programs that were so critical to the future success of his business. So I'm really looking forward to see how that all fell together over the years, George. So that's brilliant. We'll just give another few minutes now, just before we kick off, another minute. Delighted. A lot of work goes into these things. So Sinead and the team, thank you so much for putting the time and effort into this. And as I say, we're going to kick off. There is an opportunity to ask questions. Anybody who'd like to place a question, there is a text box at the bottom of the screen. So please send your questions in. And at the end of the presentations, we will take any questions that you may have. And any questions we can't get to, we'll come back later and we'll get the answers back for you. We'll do our damnedest to do that for you. So just conscious of, yeah, I think we might kick off at this stage. So look, you're very welcome. As I say, this webinar this morning, the title is Employ Clever, Apprenticeship Programs to Suit Employers' Needs. And from an event overview, which you should have all received, I'll just do a little bit of a synopsis on it. There are many benefits for you as an employer to take part in the apprenticeship program, particularly that you can discover fresh talent and thinking, and how to meet your needs and grow together. And George will touch on that as well. Employing an apprentice is like recruiting another employee. And the Northwest Regional College, through their HLA programs, offers employers an opportunity to employ clever through an initiative which is aimed at addressing high-level skill shortages, which are increasingly evident across the region. And we will be touching on that as well. And their apprenticeship NI programs ensure the employee gets the training and qualifications both for their career and for what employers want. So there's a real match there to match what the economy needs and to make sure that they have the right training and skills. I'm delighted to have Sinead Hawkins, who's Business Skills Manager at Northwest Regional College, John Carton, who's Deputy Head of Training and Skills at the college, Michelle Breslin, Training Manager, Sinead Milligan, Employment Liaison Officer and Compliance Coordinator at Northwest Regional College, and George Fleming as well from Fleming Agri, who's here to join and support the webinar as well. So look, I know we've a fairly full schedule, so maybe John, if I could hand over to you, and as I say, if there are any questions that anybody would like to ask, please put them in the text box there and we'll get down to them. And we'll have if people want to jump in, please feel, and I can maybe ask a question during the webinar as well. So John, if I could hand over to you, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah. Paul, thanks very much. And I'd just like to say thanks to the Chamber for giving us the opportunity to showcase the apprenticeships here. So firstly, I would like to thank everybody for taking the time out this morning to allow us to let you know about all the apprenticeship opportunities here at the Northwest Regional College. I am often asked the question by employers that are not involved with the college, why should we send apprentices to the Northwest Regional College? Hopefully this presentation will go some way to answering that question and allow you to see the wraparound service Northwest Regional College can offer employers to meet the needs of specific industries. Before we begin, I would like to show a short clip of our new apprenticeship hub here in the city. Springtown Campus, formerly the Training Centre, has a proud history of turning out first-class tradespeople, many who are our current employers, training the next generation. This will give you a flavour of our new state-of-the-art £7 million campus designed to train the employers of the future. I just want to show us that there, Sinead. As you can see, we have a fantastic facility available, which hopefully we can utilize to the full potential on the other side of this COVID crisis. And I would just like to extend sort of an invitation to anybody who's on the call today. You know, if you are interested in sort of having a walk around the campus here in Springtown, if you can go through the chamber there, and we can arrange that easily enough there. So I'll move on just to the introduce the panel here today. And we have, just flick on to the next one there, Sinead. We have myself, my name's John Carton. I'm the Deputy Head of Department for Training and Skills here in the college. My background is construction. I have a construction background. I started as a bricklayer leaving school, and I have, my journey has taken me the whole way through the Northwest Regional College as a 16-year-old apprentice in 1982 through to owning my own subcontracting brickwork business, and then moving into the college to teach, and then moving up to the position of management, which I'm in today. We also have Michelle Breslin here. Michelle looks after the training support and the administration here in the college.
Can you see that, John? Sorry, can I just check and see?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
And we have Sinead Milligan, who is our employment liaison officer and deals with the employers around the funding, around the APNI programs. We have George Fleming, needs no introduction, chairman of Fleming Agri Products, and Sinead Hawkins, who looks after the business skills in the college and the business support. And there's a lot of funded programs and HLAs are through Sinead's department as well. So if I move on to the curriculum, from the curriculum perspective on the APNI programs, I'll give you a short overview of the APNI programs. We deliver qualifications at level 2 and level 3 in each vocational area. But if you can keep in mind, all these programs courses are available on part-time FE models also for students that either do not meet the entry requirements for APNI programs or simply wish to self-fund. The APNI program for all vocational areas consists of a framework of qualifications that must be completed. This ensures that the college can claim full framework funding, and also that there's an incentive payment that an employer gets as well. Each vocational area studies qualifications at level 2 and level 3. This qualification consists of a knowledge-based element which student attains in college via assessment, both practical and theory. The qualification also has major competency element which must be addressed in the workplace. This is completed using a variety of assessment methods, which include the assessor visiting the student in workplace, evidence gathered by the student, remote assessment using technology, or sometimes we use professional discussion with the student and the employer, or even the client of some of the work that the student may be carrying out. When both this knowledge and competence element is completed, the technical element of the program is complete. As part of the framework, all students finishing at level 3 must have English, Maths, and ICT at a minimum of grade C or above. Any student that is below this must complete during their time on the program to complete the full framework. So the main question asked around delivering of APNI curriculum is the delivery model in the college, and how long does the program last, and can someone complete early? And that's a question we often have from employers. While this is not set in stone, we have found that 1 day per week in college from September to June works best for students, employers, and successful outcomes. An apprentice journey lasts 4 years in the craft areas. This can be slightly shorter. However, we have to remember the competence element of all these qualifications is achieved in the workplace, where the apprentice is for the majority of their program. And it is this repetition that allows them to hone their practical skills and knowledge. On a typical 4-year apprenticeship program, a student will spend 15% of the time in college and the other 85% in the workplace. Giving employers ownership of the training, and emphasizes the importance of the employer's role in the program and achieving successful outcomes. And that is sort of, it's very important that the employers understand that the majority of the training is carried out in the workplace, the knowledge element in the college and the competency element in the workplace. You can see there the range of programs that we are currently delivering in the college, and we also are planning to expand that offer, and There's discussions at the minute around all age apprenticeships, and basically we'll have more information about that probably towards the beginning of September time. I'll move on now and I'll pass you across to Michelle Breslin, who will take us through the next couple of slides here.
Okay, John, thank you very much for that. So hi everyone, I'm going to just cover some information here now in relation to the apprenticeship NI programme, and Sinead Hawkins will come on later on to discuss more about the higher level apprenticeship programme. So in relation to the apprenticeship NI programme, an apprentice can be a new or existing employee starting a new position within the company. We often have companies approach us in relation to upskilling some of their current employees via the App NI programme, and we have dedicated employment liaison officers available to assist companies with this process. An apprentice is in paid employment from day one, so they're basically paid from whenever they begin the programme. They're on national minimum wage. There is a specific rate for apprentices, which organisations must adhere to, and the rates do differ from higher level apprenticeships. An apprenticeship, as John mentioned earlier, usually takes between 2 to 4 years to complete, and this just depends on the type of apprenticeship. A level 2 is usually 2 years, and a level 3 is usually 2 years, with the exception of our electrotechnical apprenticeship at level 3, which takes the full 4 years to complete. So the employers provide on-the-job training, and the apprentice will attend directed off-the-job training to achieve the relevant industry standard qualifications delivered by the college. Off-the-job training is when the apprentice attends a college 1 day per week, and obviously the apprentice is paid to attend the college for that day. At the beginning of the programme, a personal training plan is agreed between the employer, apprentice, and the college. And this is a fundamental plan that is revisited and reviewed regularly throughout the duration of the apprenticeship journey to ensure the apprentice is on track to meet the targets and milestones required to achieve the qualifications. So just moving on to the next slide there. In terms of the App NI qualifications, I've mentioned earlier the level 2 and level 3. So level 2, this is a level where most apprentices would enter into, and this is equivalent to 5 GCSEs. And the level 3, apprentices can either enter directly into level 3, depending on entry criteria, or progress from level 2 into level 3, also depends on eligibility. And the level 3, once completed, is equivalent to 2 A-levels. And if we move on there to the next slide, this is a useful diagram which illustrates the apprenticeship progression pathways. And you can clearly see the progression from the level 2 apprenticeship through to level 3, and further on to higher education at level 4 and 5. You will also notice reference here to Northern Ireland Traineeship, which is a new level 2 provision being offered this year by all colleges across Northern Ireland. And additional information on this traineeship is available within our college website. So just moving on there to the next slide. So in terms of apprenticeship NI eligibility, the applicants or apprentices are required to have reached the minimum school leaving age in Northern Ireland. So they're required to be between 16 to 24 years of age to join the programme. Apprentices obviously must be employed or about to take up paid employment within Northern Ireland. And again, we have dedicated employment liaison officers available to support organisations with this. Apprentices must be working a minimum of 21 hours per week and must be on a permanent contract. So that's really important. It must be permanent and not temporary. They also must meet all the entry requirements for the chosen apprenticeship. Some apprenticeships will require to have GCSEs. And again, in terms of entry requirements, all this information is available in our online prospectus, as some subject areas differ from others. So it's important that when apprentices are applying that they're aware of the entry criteria. And there's also a number of additional eligibility considerations that are detailed within the Department for Economy operational requirements. Again, we've dedicated staff here available to support both organisations and apprentices should there be any inquiries. So I'll just pass you on to Sinead Milligan now, who will cover the next couple of slides.
Thank you very much, Michelle. So I'm going to discuss the benefits for the apprentice and an employer and just provide you with some top line information. Earn while you learn. So obviously it's an opportunity for an apprentice to earn a salary while they're acquiring their skills and training. Work alongside experienced staff that applies to your organisation. So it provides a great opportunity for a shared knowledge approach within an organisation, and the apprentice can acquire the skills and the expertise that they need to achieve their qualification. Receive off-the-job training specific to your apprenticeship. So the apprentice can come to Northwest Regional College and avail of our state-of-the-art facilities here. The apprentice can gain relevant industry related qualifications, professional level qualifications without paying higher education tuition fees. So this is very important because very often it can be seen as a great alternative or a great pathway to avoid those large fees. And increased opportunities for career progression, which Michelle has outlined in the previous slide. So we'll move on to the next slide now. So this slide outlines the benefits to the employer. So they can develop relevant skills that align with job needs. And this is a great opportunity for an employer to look and identify skills gaps within their organization and build their business. Provide the benefit from government funding. And Michelle is going to outline a number of government funding packages that are available for an employer. They can save on, or you can save on recruitment costs. And again, it's a great alternative for acquiring staff without going down traditional recruitment strategies. Can create a career progression for your employees. Flexible training options. Again, we can offer a range of flexible training delivery models that can align with your business needs or requirements and support local talent. And this is very important because Northwest Regional College engage heavily with industry. We find that many companies are very keen to support local talent in the Northwest area. Thank you. Now I'll pass you over to George. And George is going to provide us with an overview of his experience of working with Northwest Regional College and how it has enabled him to align his business needs and the skill sets that he required with his business strategy. Okay, George.
Thanks, Sinead. I'm not sure if anyone's aware of our company, but Fleming Agri Products manufacture a range of agricultural machinery which we sell all over the UK, Ireland, and as far away as Australia, New Zealand, and the USA. My first connection with the Northwest Regional College goes way back to 1973 when I actually went through a training program myself. And served an apprenticeship. But Fleming Agri Products started in New Buildings in 1983. And from day one, we have had a very close relationship with the Northwest Regional College. And actually, our factory manager today is one of the very first trainees or apprentices we had, Raymond Gibson. And he's now our factory manager from being our first apprentice back in 1983. Since then, when we started, we started with 3 employees. We now have 120 employees, and the apprenticeship program has always been very much an integral part of our growth of the company. And we've always been very much sales led. So the more we sell, the more staff we needed, and we found, whenever you actually needed welders or fabricators, they were never there when you needed them. So we've always worked on a principle of taking on originally 2-3 trainees or apprentices. Now we have actually at this minute in time we have 11 apprentice NIs. We have 1 HLA. We have 4 apprentices on Training for Success. And we have 3 apprentices that we recruited through the Welding Academy, which finished there in May. And this is very much an integral part of the growth of our business for staff. And as I say, we've moved from 3 employees back in 1983 to 120 now. So it's an integral part. As we bring apprentices on, those apprentices remain with us, and we've always tried to create a good place of employment where the guys actually enjoy where they work, with the result that several of our team leaders are now apprentices that started with us when they were 16. Our managing director started with us when he was an 18-year-old back in 1983, and he did a technician's course through Fleming's, and then went on and did his degree through Ulster University, and then did a master's through the Ulster University, and has now ended up as being managing director for his sons. So the apprentices that we have coming in, they grow and thrive quite well, but we do put quite a bit of commitment to them as well, in the fact that we do have a senior welder who gives them one-to-one mentoring and setting up different products. Because we have a very wide range of product, it takes a lot of the boredom away from the manufacturing process, because they're not making the same product all the time. We also have several different areas. So we have the cutting and fabrication room, we have the welding room, we have the stores department, we have the paint and finishing room, and then loading and dispatch. And we try to bring our apprentices all through and move them through all the different departments all the time to find where they're most comfortable. A lot of them end up in the welding and fabrication end, but they have all found different niches in areas that they prefer themselves. And also the fact that, when they go home at night and they're traveling along the road and they see a Fleming trailer or a Fleming bale lifter or a muck spreader, there's a great air of satisfaction in the fact that, they say, well, I painted that, or I welded that, or I cut the parts for that. What we do now to maintain our growth program is we take 6 trainees on, between 6 and 8 apprentices on each year, and that keeps our growth, rather than us always going looking for one or qualified welders, because they're not available when you go looking for them. And so we bring on our apprenticeships, and the apprenticeships, as I said before, it's an integral part of the growth of our factory, in the fact that in year 1 we don't get a great lot of value for them. In year 2 they're starting to learn the job, and they're starting to have a production value. By year 3 and 4 they're becoming an integral part of the production process, so that by the time they're into year 4 and year 5, they're one of the senior team in whatever part of the factory they're in. So at this minute in time, we have live recruitment. We're now recruiting for our apprentices for this year. We're also looking for industrial spray painters. We're recruiting for the mega apprentice degree in manufacturing engineer. And we've committed ourselves to 3 more apprentices from the Welding Academy, which is coming on, hopefully, Sinead, in August or September. So, I don't know, is that?
That's right, yes.
Yeah. Well, I suppose the one other thing I would say is in this year we did have 2 of our second-year apprentices. One, Declan McElhaney, was runner-up. He was a finalist in the Apprentice of the Year. And we also, it's not purely a male-dominated industry anymore, as one of our second-year apprentices is Chloe Rankin, who's working away in the factory at the minute, welding and just loving it.
Brilliant, George. Fantastic story there. And look, we'll come back to that at the end with some questions that we can pitch at you there, if that's okay. I think we're going to hand over to you, Sinead, if that's all right.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here today to talk about the higher level apprenticeships, and I'm delighted that George was able to join us today, because his part is very much a place to play in terms of highlighting the importance of the apprenticeships and the higher level apprenticeships within his business. My role as a business skills manager is really working with the companies and seeing where the skills gaps are and what areas that they have, and the higher level apprenticeships very much fits within that, and providing a wraparound service in terms of skills. So first of all, if we just briefly look at where the graduates are needed in the following subjects, so moving on to the higher level apprenticeships, areas which you all know anyway is computer science, civil engineering, health and social care in terms of nursing, But there is a lot of growth areas in there as well within those fields under IT and communications, within professional services, and within civil engineering and manufacturing. So there's a lot of growth areas that's coming up in there that these apprenticeships can help with and help the growth of the companies. So what is a higher level apprenticeship? Because it's different from the normal apprenticeships that Michelle was talking about earlier on. So it's level 3 and above. It's delivered part as 1 day per week, the same as the other apprenticeships in the Northwest Regional College during term time, and over 4 days in the businesses. So you have 1 day in the college and then 4 days in the business. So it is open to new or existing employees, and I'll explain that now shortly. It can range from 2 to 3 years in duration and is accredited by the University of Ulster or Accounting Technicians Ireland, depending on what way you go with the higher level apprenticeship, what area that you're involved with. You can obtain a foundation degree from University of Ulster at the end of the programme. The employers' higher level apprenticeships, how much does it cost is what employers always ask me about. There's currently no cost to the apprentice or the employer for tuition, and that includes the registration and exam fees as well. But there's also this recovery package that is available that Michelle's going to talk about later on, which applies to the apprenticeships and the higher level apprenticeships as well, which is a great incentive for employers at the minute. What is involvement is required from the employers? Well, employers need to support higher level apprenticeships in terms of their study time and provide a work-based mentor to support the apprentice who can apply. So I mentioned before there, it can be a new job post. Taking on a higher level apprenticeship is the same as recruiting for a new position within your organisation, and you follow your assessment of needs in terms of the support centre works with you in Northwest Regional College to help you recruit these new job posts as well. Or it can be an existing employee who are taking up a new role within the business and who maybe want to upskill or reskill. They may be also eligible for this higher level apprenticeship. So that's very important to mention because it can give a career progression for someone already within your company. So the areas that we offer are as accountancy, IATI accountants technicians is qualified by, the software development, the electrical and electronic engineering, mechanical engineering, international hospitality and tourism management, or international travel and tourism management, and the last one, leadership for children's care, learning and development. So the next few slides is going through the content of them, because a lot of questions would be asked of me in terms of employers. What areas do they cover and how does that match my provision or the types of products or service we offer? So we've got accountancy. So these are only flashcards and it gives an overview, and you can find all the details on our Northwest Regional College website. But I'll give you a little bit of flavour of each of these areas. In terms of accountancy, you have modules in the first year, taxation, financial accounting, and then advanced taxation, advanced financial accounting, and management accounting then in year 2. For software development, which is very popular at the minute with a lot of the companies that I am working with, the modules there you can see professional personal development, interactive web design, introduction to program, mathematics for software development, and so on. So there's a number of different areas there that could be relating to your business and would be beneficial for you. In terms of electric and electronic engineering, you have the different areas there again. I'm not going to go through all these areas just to give you a flavour, and it is available again on the website. Mechanical engineering, as I say, they cover different things like graphical communications and CAD, business management, engineering, materials, computer aided manufacturing, engineering mechanics, engineering design with paramedics and CAD, further mathematics for engineers. So there's a range of different topics and areas that we're involved with in terms of the mechanical engineering area. So the other one is international, I'm trying to see the topic there, international hospitality and tourism management and international travel and tourism management. So there are different core modules there in terms of principles of event management, hospitality, contemporary hospitality, travel and tourism, and there's different areas within that, marketing and leadership management as well. So it's a range of different things within these, and you can check the eligibility of your employees or future employees for these programs. So the last one there, the area is leadership for children's care, learning and development. And this is a course for senior practitioners in the leadership or management role who work within early years and childcare setting, including day nurseries, creches, playgroups, and preschool settings. The course is also suitable for practitioners who have an opportunity to be appointed into a leadership role within the setting. So this is a two-year program. So that's basically giving you a little bit of a flavour of the different areas. And the last and newest one is the business enterprise one. So this is a kind of general one with it does include financial accounting and ethics for business and leadership management and the principles of marketing. But this is the newest one that we have launched, and hopefully we will get word about that in September. But if anybody is interested in that, please get in contact with us for the business and enterprise higher level apprenticeship. So here's a flavour of some of the employers we use and higher level apprenticeships. You've seen George was talking about his higher level apprenticeship there, but there's a number of different areas within those areas that I discussed earlier on. And this is an example just of Sarah Gillespie from Fujitsu, who Sarah was a fully trained pharmacist who gave up her day job to study the software development at the Northwest Regional College. She was very successful once she got into the higher level apprenticeship, and that practical mentoring support throughout, she just flourished. She won the Department for the Economy's Apprenticeship of the Year award, and you can see her wee statement there. She worked in Fujitsu and shared service teams which helped resolve technical issues on behalf of customers across the business together with colleagues. So she has really blossomed within that role, and she's still working within Fujitsu now, and it's helped them to grow in that area as well. So that is it for me. I'm going to pass over to Michelle now to talk about that funding and the incentives for businesses to take up the apprenticeships and the higher level apprenticeships. Thank you very much.
Hey, Sinead, thank you for that very useful oversight of HLAs. I'm going to touch upon what funding is available now for the apprenticeship programme. So in relation to the apprenticeship NI, so for apprentices aged 16 to 24, the Department for Economy pay the full costs of off-the-job training. So basically they provide the cost for colleges training the apprentices. So colleges, we claim the funding based on milestones and achievements being met throughout the duration of the apprenticeship programme. An incentive payment is also available for employers when an apprentice successfully completes their level 2 or level 3 apprenticeship framework. So the apprentices are required to complete all elements of the full framework in order to obtain the employer incentive payment. Once they complete, the employer incentive payment is made to organisations, and this varies depending on the type of apprenticeship, but normally varies in between £500 to £1,500. In terms of the COVID-19 apprenticeship incentive scheme, so these are in addition to the employer incentive payments, and these are really lucrative schemes that are now available to organisations who are taking on apprentices. There's two different types of schemes. So there's the first one is the new apprenticeship incentive scheme, and the second one is the apprenticeship return, retain and result scheme. And initially, these schemes were set up by the Department for Economy to support organisations through COVID and to encourage apprenticeship opportunities. Initially, again, the scheme was set up until March 2021, but we were delighted to hear that the Department for Economy extended those schemes for another year. So again, a good time, I suppose, for employers to take on apprentices. In relation to the first scheme there, the new apprenticeship incentive scheme, so organisations can receive up to £3,000 for each new apprenticeship opportunity created between the 1st of April 20 to the 31st of March 22. And this is paid through 2 instalments. The first instalment of £2,000 is paid after 90 days retention following the start of the new apprenticeship. And the second payment of £1,000 is paid after 200 days retention following the start of a paid apprenticeship. In relation to the apprenticeship return, retain and results scheme, this is a scheme available and it pays up to £3,700 to businesses who have had to furlough an apprentice, but they have since returned to paid employment throughout the duration of the scheme. And how this is broken down is in relation to the return side of things, a £500 per returned furlough apprentices is payable for the first full month of paid apprenticeship. So whenever they return to work, the retained payment is then made. A maximum of £2,000 is available, and £500 per month for up to 4 consecutive months of paid apprenticeship following the return between the claim period. And then an additional payment of £1,200 for the successful completion of all apprenticeship components by a returned furloughed apprentice. And this applies to both the apprenticeship NI and a HLA apprentice. So again, further information and eligibility is available on the NI Business Info website, or again, we would have college staff available to answer any questions in relation to that. So I suppose it's just timely as well to mention a new Mentor Connect program that has been ongoing. Again, as part of the Department for Economic COVID-19 Challenge Fund opportunities, all the 6 colleges in Northern Ireland got together and submitted a project bid to develop online resources to support key stakeholders involved with apprenticeship NI and higher level apprenticeship programs. And I suppose these online solutions help to demystify the content structure and administration associated with the AppNI and HLA programs, because we all understand the different requirements, administration requirements, compliance requirements, and the mentoring requirements as part of the apprenticeship NI program. So these really useful online resources are now available for organizations to tap into. So as a result of this, there's three online modules have been developed. So the first one is a training module for apprenticeship employers, and this is branded a Mentor Connect. There's also an employer toolkit and an apprentice toolkit to support both employers and apprentices in terms of the information and administration and everything associated with the program. So again, these are very, very useful and excellent online resources that are now freely available. They're just in the process of being launched. There was a pre-launch last week, and there's the full launch is expected to happen between this week and next week. So further information will be available on our website. And again, this is free of charge for organizations to access. And we hope that employers find this useful. And finally, how to apply. So if you have any apprentices or current employees working and they're looking to apply for some of our programs, all our applications admissions process is online. So simply apply through our Northwest Regional College website, www.nwrc.ac.uk/apply, and you should be directed then into the full range of courses that are available. And apprentices are just required to click the course and click on apply. If there's any further queries, and maybe after this session, if there's no immediate questions that need answered, if you maybe think of something later, apprenticeship NI queries can be directed through our training support mailbox, which is trainingsupport@nwrc.ac.uk, or our higher level apprenticeship queries should be directed towards HLA_DOCS@nwrc.ac.uk. So thank you everyone for listening. I will pass you back over to Paul now to see if there's any questions for any of the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and all the other previous contributors. Are really, really interesting things. I have a few questions. All right, there was one question came in here from Michelle Murphy. Do the trainee apprenticeships have to find their own employment? I'm not sure who'd like to take that particular question.
I'll take that, Paul.
Thanks a million.
We have a team of employment liaison officers here in the college. I mean, ideally a young person comes along and they have already got an employer there, but we would use the team of employment liaison officers here who would be in contact with a sort of a database of employers, the like of George, and that would be coming to ourselves and saying what sort of apprentices these have this year. So we'd have a list of current vacancies, but in some instances we try and utilize the network, everybody's network. At times there, I mean, sometimes we may have a job, but it may not be in a suitable location for young people, and that all has to be taken into consideration when you're considering sort of where they're placed. But we do have a sort of an extensive team. We have a team of 6 employment liaison officers there, and we also have our sort of a careers academy team there, and we run workshops that sort of help applicants sort of search for jobs, and all the support services there and the college and how to utilize all them, Paul.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, and can I just add on to that as well, John and Paul? You know, if an applicant is interested in applying, we would encourage them to apply anyway, even if they don't have an employer, because obviously as long as they have an employer before the apprenticeship starts, which is normally in around September time. But, you know, if someone is thinking about becoming an apprentice now, then put your application through our online system. And, you know, if you can work then with our dedicated staff in terms of trying to source an employer before the program begins. We have some courses, Paul, that are really popular and, you know, have waiting lists. So again, we would encourage applicants to apply early rather than leave it to the last minute so they're not disappointed.
Well, look, that's a message we'll get out, obviously, with the presentation today out to our members, and this has been recording, so we'll be able to send this out as well. That was just, thanks very much for your response there from Michelle. Thank you, John, for that. Just in terms of, George, maybe come back to you there, just the best tip that you would offer an employer who is considering taking on an apprentice. I mean, you talked about the, I suppose, the integration into your strategic plan, which I was fascinated with. It's not like you just bolt them on the side. These are actually very much part in your strategic plan. I think you described it as an integral part of your growth strategy. And you're just on mute there at the moment, George, if you want to unmute. But is that the tip? The tip would be, how do you really incorporate them into your overall business strategy as opposed to an afterthought, I think is.
Yeah, well, actually, just at this minute in time, we're interviewing for this year's apprentices downstairs in the boardroom. And we strategically take on 6 employees, and hopefully, you know, out of those 6 we'll retain 4, and sometimes it'll be the young man or girl has chosen the wrong profession, and he changes direction, or maybe he doesn't feel coming in on time as part of the deal. But you know, from a strategic point of view, we find it's much easier for us to train up. And as I said earlier, you know, in the first year, you may be not getting as much benefit, because the first year they're 2 days at the regional college and 3 days at work. So you only have them 3 days, but they are learning all the time. So by the time they come to the second year, they are more and more proficient in the different roles within the factory. So they're still learning, but they've got a production value. So we find it's a great way that by the time their time served, they are an integral part of the workforce.
Yeah, absolutely. And John, you mentioned there about the Springtown building. And unfortunately, with COVID and everything else, even though I've been in the role for about 12 months now, I haven't been able to get down. And I really would love to be able to get in and have a look around. The short video was great to be able to see the quality of the building and the huge investment that was put there. So it is state of the art, and it's on our doorstep, really.
Yes, well, without a doubt, Paul. And the unfortunate thing about it, we got handed the building back in March last year. And we had all our classrooms all laid out in our workshops all laid, but unfortunately with COVID and that's what we all know where that has gone. We have limited capacities, but we're hoping to get back to full capacity, maybe in the next academic year, or maybe in the spring of the next academic year. You know what I mean? But it is a fantastic facility now, and I do think, you know, I mean, there's an expectation out there from employers and from the students that come across our doors that all the schools, all the major post-16 schools, their estate is all sort of brand new estates, and there's an expectation when they come to ourselves that they will have a similar estate. Where now in Springtown we can offer them a better estate than they have in their schools, you know what I mean? And we also have a piece of a Springtown that has to be developed further there. We have a section there for innovation, and we're hoping to sort of put a bid in to sort of get some sort of maybe some sort of Industry 4 development within that section within it, but that's in the plan. And we want to try and future-proof the centre, you know what I mean, and sort of be leading sort of in the innovation section in it as well, along with our core, you know, manufacturing and engineering and the construction areas as well. And we have had major investment there in capital equipment and new machines and all the rest of it, and also in new staff there as well, Paul. We have a few new staff on the ground here as well. Within George will be glad to hear this. Within fabrication and welding, we have three brand new staff there, and it's great, and it gives it sort of the building and lift and everything else. And past students and past employees from local industry and everything that are teaching now the next generation.
Well, I was speaking to a person heavily involved in manufacturing from a member organization there, and they were saying that in terms of welders, and George, you touched on it there, that, and this, he wasn't joking, he was serious about it. He said, if you had 50 welders tomorrow morning, I have a job for them, somewhere between 15 and 18 pounds an hour, because there's such a huge demand out there at the moment that they're actually moving between businesses as well and trying to keep them as a challenge, because there's such a huge girth of supply. And I do know, and George, and fair play to you and your business you've taken on. I know there was the latest 12, I think, or maybe 16 came out of the, maybe John, you could clarify that number, but I know that George took 3 of them. And
Yeah.
they're
there was
going straight out of, that's matching the demand to what the jobs are out there.
Yeah, and those 3 units are working working very well for us.
So, I mean, it's matching that, and that's only one element of it. And Sinead, you touched on all the other courses that are there, from accountancy, software, electrical engineering, mechanical, hospitality, tourism, and so on, down to business and enterprise. I mean, there's a huge range of course available in the HLA side, but also the level 2 and level 3 as well. So there really is something for everybody here. It sounds like everything in the audience, but really there is an opportunity there for anybody. It's such a diverse offering.
Can I just say, Paul, in terms of the higher level apprenticeships, and they reiterate what Michelle had said there, get on your applications as soon as possible, because there's a big demand, particularly for the software development one, and there seems to be an increased interest in the business and enterprise one. So it's important to get your applications in for that now.
The other thing which we touched on earlier was just about the careers guidance and the schools, and John, you touched on it in terms of the capital product, the capital infrastructure that you have down there. But do you think the message is getting into the schools that, this facility is there, these courses are available, it is another avenue to success, as apart from, we'll say, the third level institutions or universities?
Well,
is there work to be done there, I suppose, really? Maybe
there is work to be done there, Paul, but it's kind of, COVID has sort of put a stumbling block up there, because it's kind of you arrange an event now. In the past, you were afraid nobody turned up. Now you're afraid if too many turn up, if you organize an event and things like that there. So we're hoping coming into the September time that, we can publicize the campus much more. We are doing it sort of digitally and online and across social media, but we would love to really have sort of boots on the ground, if you like, sort of in around the campus, because while the videos and the technology is great, the nothing beats sort of a walk around a campus and sort of putting your hands on that tactile feel that you get from all the new machinery and the facilities. Like Springtown now has fantastic student facilities. It's open learning resource centres. It's, the fantastic sort of student areas there. There's a real campus feel about the place now at the minute, similar to what they would have in our campuses, and sort of that university feel as well, and there's an expectation from young people that's available for them when they're studying at the minute.
Well, I have to say,
we've run very successful open days in the past, John, where we have brought schools in as well, and they've proven to be very successful as well.
Yeah, that message you got out there, Sinead, of Erin, why you learn, I think is really an important one. And I know from the social media on the Welding Academy there, it was really lovely to see the picture of them standing in front with their dedicated tops and all that kind of thing. And that really grabbed the attention, looked really well. And, that follows up, but these are real jobs, really good jobs with potential to career development as well, as George touched on. Look at the employees that he's employed. They've kept true with each other, and obviously they have challenges all the way along, no doubt, George, but the reality is you have people who came in as apprentices now are running your business effectively. That just shows what you can do.
Very, very much so.
So
the one thing I would say about the schools is I think the schools aren't aware of all the diverse range of industry that is available in the Northwest. I think they're restricted in their knowledge of knowing, that Fleming's employ 120 people and sell machinery all around the world, or Pack Flat sell polling booths all around the world, or Paul Diamond makes millions of boxes that's delivered to their door and they don't realize it's made in Springtown. And I mean, I think there's an education there there's an education to be done to let people, all you ever hear in Derry is, oh, there's no jobs in Derry. There's lots of jobs in Derry, but everybody just thinks down the digital route. And if it's not a digital engineer or an IT engineer, well, then it's there's no jobs in Derry.
It's getting that balance right. And of course, John, you touched on that the mix as well about the 85% of the workplace, 15%. In the training environment, which means they're really learning those practical skills and bringing them back and honing their skills then from an academic point of view to match what they're actually doing back in the workplace. So they're coming out very, as George touched on, year one, they're adding a certain amount of it. Year 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, they really are becoming an integral part of the business strategy and paying back to the business of the investment that you put in up front. And of course, Michelle, you touched on the financial incentives that are there at the minute as well.
Yeah, and Paul, just to add to that as well, in terms of financial incentives, but down the line, the Department for Economy, I think John picked up or touched upon it earlier, the Department for Economy exploring opportunities for all age apprenticeships. So obviously at the minute for APNI, it's limited to 16 to 24, but the department are reviewing the policy, and there's serious amount of progression, I suppose, in terms of opening that up now to all age apprenticeships, as well as opening up the door to public sector apprenticeships as well. So previously we were unable to support or recruit for the likes of public sector organisations. So there is plans in place. So this is going to be available from January 22. So all going well, that will be available. And with that in mind, the college are exploring additional occupational areas to get into as a result of this, and things like management, administration, housing, apprenticeship opportunities, and that as well. So hopefully everything will go ahead as planned, and we should see an increase in our apprenticeship numbers over the next year.
Yeah, and look, one of the things that I had heard, from talking to businesses was this challenge maybe, because it can be a complicated area if you're looking at all the various courses and all the various colleges and trying to find the right fit for what your employment needs are. And you put this Mentor Connect online process there, which is brilliant, that you can go online and you can actually work through those 3 areas that you mentioned there, Michelle, which is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And
it's free as well. I mean, that's the key bit. You can go in here and do this yourself, and it's really support. And the 6 colleges doing it together really gives that joint focus. It just makes it easier again for potential employers or apprentices, apprentices to navigate through the questions that they may have. And of course, you have your support team there as well.
That's it, yeah. So there, as I said, there are excellent resources available free of charge. And, there's a lot of work went on over the past 6 months with experts from every college in terms of marketing teams, online development teams, employment liaison officers, and all the rest in terms of the knowledge. And, so the resources are excellent, and you'll probably see more information in relation to this being advertised through our website and through our social media sites over the next few days or early next week. So just keep a wee eye on that and have a wee browse through. And if there's any queries, just come back to us in relation to that too.
Brilliant. And John, we'll take you up on that invitation if you don't mind. Michelle here saying that she would like an invite. I think it was Michelle, was it? Yeah. She said she'd love an invite down there. I think we should extend that out wider if possible, and maybe we could coordinate a visit from Chamber.
Time, Paul. Let us know their time suits, and we'll make arrangements,
Yeah, okay, and obviously within the regulations, as they say, but we'll make sure we do that.
I think it would be very good to get a number of manufacturing businesses to get a tour around the premises, so that they can see the training facilities that's there.
Yeah. That sounds like you're giving me an action there, George, to work on. That's why you're the chairman. No, perfect. Look, we'll do that actually, because I think it's a great idea. I'd love to see it myself. And I know there are other people who are coming on it. Have I got another question here? Yeah, that would be super. It means we can promote the apprenticeship program within our work. So that's grand. We'll do that as an action from the webinar today. Obviously, we have the information, Sinead. We'll send it out with the recording. And if, as you say, we have the contacts there. If anybody within the presentations, if anybody wants any further information, please feel free to contact us. Sinead, just in terms of a wrap up, Was there anything you'd like to say just to wrap up there before we finish? Anything like you to add?
No, I just thank you very much for everybody coming coming to the webinar today. As I say, the important thing for us is to support businesses as much as we can in terms of the skills needs there. So this is only one or two avenues that we provide within the college, and it's all delivered through the curriculum areas there. So please avail of John's offer there to go down and see Springtown and see what's happening down there. But as I say, it's a great opportunity. There's great incentives for employers, and you know, a great embedment under their growth areas in terms of companies to going forward. So
Sinead.
thank you very much. Thank
No,
you, Paul.
No, thank you, Sinead, for that. I'd like to thank all our panel members, Sinead Hawkins, John, Michelle, and Sinead Milligan, and George as well for their contributions today. It was really, really interesting. A great opportunity. Fabulous work being done by Northwest Regional College again. Can't speak more highly about what you're doing down there, guys. It's just amazing. And being in touch with ourselves as the Chamber and being very loyal supporters of the Chamber over the years as well is really helping us engage with our local employers. And we'll take your offer, John, of that. You might be getting more than you expect down there. So do we get a cup of tea and a bone or anything when we arrive, or do we bring our own lunch?
We might stretch it. We might stretch.
I'm not sure if we can do that within COVID now, but anyway, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So unless there was anything else there, I would think it would make a wrap, Sinead, if you nod your head, if you're happy enough with that. Okay. Well, look, thanks again for everybody, and have a great day.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.